are going to find that the virus calls very close to home. And what I want to say here is that no matter where you are, what you do, remember that I'm always with you. I'd like to give a few things that are happening here with Joan and myself. We're supposed to keep the social distancing of 6 feet, but it doesn't happen. Joan and I get on an elevator, and suddenly 1 or 2 people who've been nearby or coming, they jump on, they say, "Is it okay we ride with you?" Well, what do you say? They're on the elevator. So here you are packed in, going down or up or something. And then sometimes people break the 6-foot social distancing barrier by coming up and touching us because they just simply cannot remember the rules. They can barely find their room. They can barely find the dining room. It's such a thing. And then for meals, our assisted care place enforces the 10-person limit. We're asked to use an antibacterial gel on our hands, even though it won't sanitize the surface with a virus. But I was looking at it and thought, well, if it gets rid of the bacteria, maybe it'll avoid getting some other germ that, should anyone here get the virus, that they'll be in stronger, better condition. And now with our friends here, everybody's spaced out, or they're sitting down in the lobby, sitting in an easy chair, and then we can just wave from back here, or we can shout over, but usually people then are gathering somewhere near us, so that doesn't work, and we just get a shrug, resigned shrug back in answer to our waving. And I've been studying and looking at things, and in a retirement home like this, door handles are a prime place for the spread of viruses. Even the nurses' aides who come in to give meds to patients, they go from room to room, touching the handles of the outside door, both inside and outside. And there is no understanding of the hygiene of some of the people here. They simply don't know how to clean themselves properly, and they do all the wrong things consistently. So what I do every day, for what it's worth, I wash down the inside and outside door handles with soap and water, and then dry them, and we do what we can. Somewhere it said that soap and water break down the shell around a virus. Whether it's true or not is anybody's guess. I noticed too, when the nurses' aides come in, of course they've been putting gloves on, and then they come in, they got their hands in there, and then they dispense meds, and then they peel off the gloves, throw them in the trash, and then they go out the door with a bare hand, grabbing the handles of the door again, and it gets kind of interesting, because they're actually probably spreading viruses, should there be any. And that's why I wash the outside door handles once a day with soap and water. And then some people say Lysol is effective for the coronavirus, but it's in short supply. We've been using it upstairs after we ride the exercise bikes. And one day, Bill and Kathy came up to ride, and they came up just as we were finishing, and I hadn't wiped down the bike handles yet or anything. Kathy says, "Bill, I can't stand anymore." So he says, "Get in the seat." So she gets in the seat. And in the meantime, the handles may be contaminated from the people before us who used it, because we have no idea if they've used the disinfectant. And so I lean over her, trying to clean the place up with her sitting in the seat. And then I ask Bill, should I set up the screen for Kathy? He's on his bike, he's pedaling away already. He says no. And he says, pedal, Kathy, pedal. And so they really pedal fast. And one thing that is so endearing here, there's an Austrian couple. He just turned 100 within the year, and she's somewhere in her 90s. And wherever they go, she hums. She just hums. And recently they were going to the elevator to go down to the dining room, and she was dancing in place and humming, and I can see this from the exercise bike where I'm pumping away on it. And then it looked like she was tipping over, but she grabbed one of the handrails and she was just dancing in place, which was really funny. She is just such a good-hearted, high-spirited person. And so then when the elevator came, she disappeared into it with her husband, still humming. And it keeps them going. That humming does. There are so many things that could be said, but the virus has completely disrupted the dining procedures here, and also the closeness that is built up between people. Now we're always at arm's length, and there are no more than 10 people allowed in a dining room at the time. They've set another dining room upstairs in the activity room, but the dining room downstairs, it takes 10 at a time. That's first shift. And then the second shift comes in half an hour later. Or as people leave, 2 people leave, 2 new come in. And then upstairs, it's the same thing. Joan and I are in the first shift, the first seating. So we get up there, about 10 minutes early, and there are already other residents sitting up there waiting for their food. So people take their food very seriously. But outside the dining room, the chairs are set up for the second shift, and they are definitely not 6 feet apart. They are maybe a foot apart. And so they gather out there waiting for the first shift, the rest of us, to finish eating so they can get in there. So there are lots of leaks in the bucket where in a rest home where once an infection gets in, a virus gets in, it would spread so quickly. Nobody gets in here anymore, not even family members to do necessary things. Groceries must be dropped off in the entryway, and one of the aides will bring it up to the room. So these are things that are just happening. But I want to say in all this that we're in this all together, and I am always with you. Now from the Shariat, there is just a short quotation that might be helpful. And it goes, whether it, soul, it's talking about, whether soul be in hell or the ocean of love and mercy, the Mahanta is with it, with soul, as well as with all other souls. The soul only has to recognize this to understand and know this miracle of life. This is in the Shariat Ki Sugma on page 105, if you have the individual volumes. And my copy is quite old, so I hope, in case you want to check any of this, you can find it. So my love is with you, and until we see each other again, I love you.